If you've been feeling a profound shift within your spirit lately, like a weight has finally lifted, and the long storm over your life has cleared, you're not imagining it. Something real and powerful is happening right now. God wants you to know that you've already won the battle, even if you can't see all the results yet. Here's the truth. Those who worked against you, who plotted behind your back, they sense it too. They know, whether they admit it or not, that something has shifted in your favor. A message for the resilient. This message is for those who fought silent battles in the dark, for the souls who took emotional, spiritual, and energetic hits but never surrendered. You were never targeted because of your weakness. Instead, it's because you are chosen. What your enemies could never comprehend is that you've been under divine protection all along. Every negative word, every attempt to curse your name, every quiet ritual meant to block your path, it's all returning to its source, not out of vengeance, but because of God's justice. You didn't have to fight back in anger or prove yourself to anyone. Your growth, elevation, and resilience became all the evidence you needed. The next chapter. Confirmation and divine announcement. The next part of your journey is about to bring confirmation to every question your soul has been asking, every feeling you've been trying to make sense of. So, pay attention, because what follows isn't just another message, it's a divine announcement. For so long, they tried to break your spirit. They wrapped you in distractions, led you into traps, and betrayed you in places where you thought you were safe. Yet, through it all, you kept rising. Even in the places where you felt the safest, both visible and invisible forces moved against you. Sometimes the attacks came from faces you trusted, and other times from energies you couldn't even see or name. But what none of them ever realized, what they never could have prepared for, was that the Most High had already secured your victory before a single battle even started. Your defeat was never written into your story. Instead, your destiny was always to rise, to awaken, and to transform into a force so powerful that the world itself couldn't contain your purpose. Breaking chains and awakening purpose, many of you were born into families and bloodlines that feared what they could not comprehend. From the earliest moments of your life, your gifts were misunderstood, and some even called them a curse. That subtle ache of not belonging, that feeling of being the odd one out, was never a mistake or an illusion. It was a signal, a reminder that you didn't come here just to fit in or follow old patterns. You came here to shake the ground beneath outdated systems, to break the cycles and generational curses that held so many before you, to wake those still asleep, and to restore a sense of divine balance where chaos and darkness once ruled for far too long. Your awakening was not soft or gentle. It was a fierce reckoning, a storm that ripped through every illusion and false belief you were taught to accept. The chains that trapped your ancestors, the limitations they never escaped, were shattered in your presence. And out of the wreckage of all that deception, something ancient and powerful within you stirred. Your soul remembered a fire you once thought had been lost forever, a fire that suddenly roared back to life. With that blaze, a sacred calling ignited, urging you to rise even higher, to surpass every force that ever tried to hold you down or bury your spirit. Your journey is not just about survival. It's about complete transformation, answering a divine call, and lighting the way for others to follow. Uncontainable spirit and divine preparation. People called you crazy, labeled you rebellious, said you were too sensitive, too intense, too much for the world to handle. But the reality is, what unsettled them was not your flaws, it was the enormity of your spirit. Your soul has always been far too expansive, too wild, and too powerful to fit into their small, tightly controlled realities. Systems tried to contain you, religion wanted to put you in a box, trauma tried to silence your voice, and society tried to shame you into shrinking yourself. Yet, through every attempt to confine or limit you, there was a persistent, gentle whisper from your soul that told you there is more, so much more. Even in your lowest moments, when pain wrapped itself around you and isolation felt like a cage, that inner knowing never left. Deep in the pit of loneliness, surrounded by darkness, something sacred happened. The veil began to lift. Illusions you once believed in crumbled to dust, and in that moment of pure remembering, a divine truth was revealed. You were never a victim. All along, you were a warrior undergoing secret training by divine hands, prepared for greatness in silence and solitude. You were like a seed buried, not to be forgotten, but to rise at the appointed time. Something heaven itself was nurturing, guiding, and protecting until you were ready. Every rejection you faced was not punishment, but a divine redirection, steering you away from what was never meant for your spirit. Every painful loss was actually a sacred cleansing, removing what would have weighed down your purpose. Every delay you experienced, no matter how frustrating, was a perfectly orchestrated pause, a moment arranged by the Most High to make sure you would bloom exactly when you were meant to. Through all of it, you were being prepared for a destiny far greater than anything this world tried to limit you to. And now, you're stepping fully into your truth, uncontainable and unstoppable. They had no idea that your silence was actually a sacred period of preparation. What looked to the outside world like passivity or defeat was, in truth, a time of holy refinement, where your spirit was being fortified in the stillness. They could never see the immense power you were gathering quietly behind the scenes. That supposed weakness, that season where you seemed hidden or overlooked, was nothing less than the forge where your revolutionary spirit was being sharpened. You were never made for the ordinary, or to simply blend into the background. Your destiny has always been to rise, to break molds, and to stand as a force of transformation. And now, the time has come for the world to witness exactly why you were set apart, why you are different, and why no one could ever truly understand who they were up against. Unshakable strength and divine justice your opposition gathered, believing that their unity in darkness, their gossip, conspiracies, and envy, could somehow overpower the brilliance of your light. They hurled all kinds of spiritual attacks, casting word curses and sending out spells, projecting their bitterness and venom toward your peace. They mocked your unwavering faith, laughed at the resilience that kept you going, and celebrated what they believed would be your downfall. But what they never could have anticipated was how you would take every weapon formed against you and turn it into your own source of strength. Every shadow sent to break you was transformed by your spirit into wisdom. Every attempt to block your path only fueled your inner fire, making you wiser, stronger, and more unshakable with each challenge. Because here's what they failed to understand: the Most High does not play about you. Your ancestors are not silent bystanders. Their prayers and energy surround you, fortifying your journey. Your spiritual team, though invisible to the naked eye, moves with an unstoppable force and strikes with a precision that only the divine could orchestrate. Every single time they thought they had you cornered or defeated, you slipped through untouched and unscathed, not by your own might, but by the unseen hand of God guiding you through the storm. The quiet whispers of your guides, those who walked this earth before you, have been steering your path with love and protection since the beginning. You are shielded by forces that the human eye could never comprehend, covered by the strength of ancient spirits who recognized your soul long before you ever took your first breath in this world. Their legacy lives within you, and their power is woven through every step you take in this lifetime. Every time darkness gathered and tried to overshadow your destiny, powerful shields were built around your name by unseen hands. When the noise of criticism and judgment grew loud enough to drown out hope, it was your ancestors and guides who softly whispered the truth directly into your spirit, reminding you of who you really are beneath the chaos. And when the battles of life seemed relentless, when opposition felt overwhelming, they placed weapons of light and sacred wisdom right into your hands, equipping you with everything needed not just to survive, but to rise above it all. Even your tears were transformed, carrying the weight of unspoken prayers. Your moments of silent heartbreak became declarations in the spirit realm, echoing as powerful forces that moved mountains and shattered generational chains. From cocoon to catalyst, a sacred rebirth, there was a purpose to your hiddenness. In the solitude of your cocoon, you didn't just wait, you learned. You became a master of listening, not to the endless distractions and opinions of the outside world, but to that sacred, persistent voice within your soul. You cultivated an unbreakable trust in the quiet pull of your own intuition, letting it guide your choices even when logic or fear tried to argue. You built your altar in places no one could see, in the secret corners of your heart, calling on your angels by name, feeling their presence strengthen you with every whispered prayer. Through seasons of fire and surrender, you purified your spirit, letting go of anything that didn't serve your highest self. You fasted, you prayed, you sat in deep meditative stillness, allowing your soul to reset and heal. With courage, you broke every toxic tie that had ever tried to drain your light, refusing to let the wounds of the past define your future. One by one, You released every false identity, every label, and every story that others tried to force onto you, reclaiming your true essence piece by piece. Through this sacred process, you emerged renewed, lighter, freer, and more aligned with your divine purpose than ever before. You made a conscious and courageous decision to cut the cords that once tethered you to timelines, destinies, and stories that were never truly meant for your soul. With every act of release, you broke free from inherited patterns, generational burdens, and expectations that sought to keep you confined to someone else's narrative. You let go of old relationships, expired roles, and dreams that never belonged to you, no matter how deeply others tried to root you there. Every strand you severed was a declaration of sovereignty, a statement that your spirit would no longer be chained to past versions of yourself or to the unfinished business of others. By choosing your own authentic path, you reclaimed your energy, your power, and your voice, sometimes for the very first time in this lifetime. Unstoppable light and divine authority. Now, you have emerged from this sacred rebirth utterly transformed. Different in ways the world can sense but can never quite define. You are elevated in mind, body, and spirit, seeing with a clarity that only comes from having survived the fire. Your wisdom is sharper, born from lessons learned in silence and pain, and you have been healed in hidden places where the deepest wounds once lingered. Scars that were invisible to others have now become the foundation of your strength. The transformation is so profound that you are becoming the living embodiment of sacred power, a channel for divine energy that radiates from your very being. Your aura shines with a light so undeniable that it enters rooms ahead of you, shifting energy, drawing the attention of both allies and adversaries alike. Wherever you go, your presence stirs something in the air. Demons and negative energies don't just notice you. They recoil and tremble at the mere mention of your name. That name is now charged with the weight of many lifetimes, echoing with the authority and protection of the Most High. You carry within you the power of your ancestors, the resilience of all who came before, and the blessing of spiritual guides who are constantly by your side. There is no more hiding your light. Your days of playing small or dimming your essence to make others comfortable are gone forever. The world is meant to see you now, to feel the truth that pulses through your words and actions. Your voice, once silenced by fear, is now a force that cannot be contained. Every word you speak, every truth you share, ripples outward, awakening others and dismantling old illusions. You walk with unshakable divine confidence, grounded in the certainty of your own worth and purpose. This confidence doesn't come from ego, but from the quiet knowing that you are divinely supported, that you are accompanied by powerful unseen forces who guide and protect you at every step. The old skin you wore has been shed, left behind like ashes after a holy fire. You have risen not just in spite of what tried to destroy you, but because of it. And now those who once whispered behind your back, mocking your journey or doubting your calling, are left in silent awe. They see your radiance, your peace, your unbreakable spirit, but have no idea what you endured to get here. They admire your strength, never knowing the depth of pain and loneliness you endured in the shadows. They marvel at your calm, but are unaware of the storms that almost tore you apart. The truth is, they could never fully grasp the price you paid nor the silent victories you claimed in the darkness. But none of that holds any weight anymore, because your destiny is no longer tied to their understanding, approval, or acceptance. You walk your own path now, guided by spirit, fueled by faith, and anchored in truth. You have outgrown the need to convince anyone of your worth or your journey. You were never sent here to plead for understanding from those who choose to remain blind to the miraculous. You are here to embody your purpose, to shine your light fearlessly, and to awaken others by simply existing as your truest self. Now you walk with purpose as your constant guide. You move with an unshakable sense of mission, following a compass not dictated by worldly trends, but calibrated by the wisdom of spirit. Peace is not just a fleeting feeling for you. It has become your permanent address, an atmosphere you create and carry with you wherever you go. Joy is your weapon of choice, an unyielding shield against despair, anger, and negativity. Even your laughter is sacred, breaking the heavy air of hopelessness and inviting the light to dance again. Every step you take is consecrated, each one laying foundations for the generations that will come after you. You are so much more than a survivor. You have become a catalyst, a living spark that ignites awakening and transformation. You are the light that guides others through the wilderness of their own confusion, pain, and doubt. When you open your mouth to speak, chains begin to loosen, and spiritual captives start to remember freedom. You are a voice for the voiceless, a lantern in the fog, a presence that clears the way for miracles to unfold. With every prayer you release, you send healing into the universe, creating space for new beginnings, for reconciliations, for dreams to take root and grow strong. You plant seeds of faith in the barren ground and water them with hope, patience, and unwavering love. You are the fulfillment of ancient prophecies and the answer to the deepest cries of the human heart. Your journey is not isolated. It is a beacon, a map, a testament for all who dare to believe that transformation is possible. Every act of love, every step in faith, every risk you take to follow your calling becomes a ripple that moves across families, communities, and entire bloodlines. You are building a legacy of light, healing, and divine remembrance that will echo long after your earthly days are done. And as you continue forward, never forget, you walk with the company of angels and the approval of ancestors who celebrate every step you take. You are watched over, guided, and supported by a spiritual family that stretches across time and dimensions. You're here not just for yourself, but for everyone whose life you will touch, for every soul who needs your light to find their own. If this message resonated with you, let us know. Like this video, subscribe to the channel for more powerful insights, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today.